Hey guys, I am Paige Smith. I am your Brandenburg I3, and I just wanted to take a second to talk about some of those hidden or what feels like camouflaged Google tools that maybe you weren't aware of that could help you or even your students stay organized and productive in this crazy time that is second 9 weeks. I'm going to show you some awesome tools, and I hope that you take some time to show some of these to your students as well so that we can all do great things. So, first thing is something that a lot of you probably know about, but I really think this is one that if you don't already have this done, it is so worth the time to organize your files into different folders. Not only that, but to color code them. So, I and my students know that my arts and AV class are always going to be green. My career exploration is always going to be blue. Engineering is always going to be a yellow or an orange. And yearbook is always going to be a pink or a red. So I have those there to help me stay organized, but also I encouraged my kids to actually go and make folders. And then this is also an interesting way to understand them and how their brain works. But I was just curious on how they would organize by color. And so I let them have just a few minutes and said, I want you to pick a different color for each of your classes that you made a folder for. And some of them were, it was very interesting because there were debates about what color each subject should be. And so then we got to get into a good conversation. I got to learn more about my kids and about what subjects they do and do not like and how they associate different colors that way. And so we got to have a lot of great conversations. And I know we're already 9 weeks in, but this could really help those kids that need the visual of colors. It could seriously help. Not to mention, this could also help you really know where to find your things because Google Drive has a great search system. You can do the filters, but it would be so much easier if you could just go into it. Something like my career and explorations, I can open this up and then I have everything from cycle one, everything I need for cycle two. These are the general things that I wanted to have in here. If I was to click into my cycle two, I see these are my lesson plans, week at a glance. Here is the warm ups that I have already pre made for the next few weeks. And here is the Unit 3 resources because that's where my class is at. This just helps me stay organized. You do not have to do as many subfolders as I do, but it is just a helpful tool to stay organized. So let's talk about how to do that. First, you just go straight to your Google Drive if you're unsure. When you are on your Google Chrome home, wherever it brings you to just generally search, you can click what we call the waffle. It has the 3x3 square of 9 dots, and you just click on your Google Drive. Now, if I wanted to create a new folder, all I would have to do is click on this new button once it loads. I can click and I can hit new folder. Now, it's going to ask you to name that folder. Here's a few things you need to know. If you want this folder to be at the top, maybe it's your most important folder that you just want to make sure everything's in, double space before you put in the name. That will help it to be pushed to the top. Another option to push it further up in the order is to use numbers or even emojis. Now, emojis do go in a alphabetical order of their own, and you may be shocked by how they alphabetize them. So just be aware that emojis don't all go in the exact alphabetical order they may seem. Some of them may be classified under different names according to Microsoft because it is a Windows computer. But those are great options. You can add your new folder. So we will say practice. Now, because I did a double space, it added it up at the top. And then notice I did have arts and AV. That is an A. It is still going to take priority because I did double space in front of all of these as well. So when I have that there, I can click on this little snowball or meatball stack, whatever you want to call it. These three little dots, click organize, and then I can choose from any of these colors. So I like purple, and they have a nice little array of purples. I'm going to choose this one. Okay, so our next really awesome tip is going to be super helpful for us and our kids because they can also do this if they ever need it. If they are with someone who maybe doesn't know this trick, maybe they can also even teach them. So, Google Docs has an option to where it will create a copy in another language. And they have a ton of languages to choose from. So I'm going to show you how to do that because this would be a huge resource for our families and students who do not speak English as their first language. So you are going to go to Tools, go down till you see Translate Document. And like I said, it has so many languages. So many. And so, for the sake of this video, I'm going to go to Spanish. And notice how the new document title already says translated copy. That way, it's not overwriting what you already have, but it's making a copy in that language. When you hit translate, it's going to load. And it's here. Now, obviously, you still want to double check that it's correct. But this is a huge time saver either way because checking for corrections is still so much simpler than rewriting and reformatting an entire document. Also, if you need to do this in multiple languages, my tip would be to change the title. Instead of just translated copy, you could put Spanish translated copy, Vietnamese translated copy, whatever language you need to use, especially if you're doing multiple. It would be so awesome for you to be able to do that and then just make edits if needed. But this is an awesome tool, and I think that it could do great things for us and our kids, especially if the kids are able to do this on their own. They might feel a little bit more empowered to understand what is happening in the classroom. Okay, so the next one is one of my all time favorites. It is all about tab groups. And if you have not used these before, they're a game changer, and your students will love them. So, tab groups. You are able to save your tabs into groups and name them so that if you have to exit out of a entire window, they will be able to come back and load all of those tabs that you had at one time instead of having to go back and find each individual one or add them all to your bookmark bar. It can be so much easier to just have them in folders. So, first, I'm going to show you what mine look like and how I've put them together. And then I'm going to show you how to create them. So, I have up here most of my folders. The only one I don't have is my i3 one, and I can add it anytime I need to. It is right here. Notice that whenever you click it from the save bar, it will open everything. Now, if I want to, I can just click on the name and it will collapse. And then I can click and drag it in order however I would like. Click to just collapse one more time. And now they're nicely organized. I can see each thing and I'm not overwhelmed by a whole bunch of different tabs open at one time or too many things on my bookmark bar. So something that I do is I color code them. Again, just like I said before, your book is always pink or red. Engineering's always a yellow or an orange. And AV is always a form of green. College and career is always blue. And so I just kept that consistent. And then I picked just fun colors for the ones that are for me personally and not involving the kids. Now, what I have in each one is kind of a mixed bag. Most of them for me is all about planning. So I have the current week I'm on, the warm-ups that I've created for the weeks, my spoken sequence, next week's lesson plan, and my planning calendar so that I can see everything all at once and then collapse it. Now, the way that you add something to the group is that if I want to go in and let's say I want to pull in a tab, I can open up that tab that I want to add something to. Whatever I have pulled up in this loose tab can just be dragged in until it has that same color. Now, maybe I want to change it and I want to take it to something different. I can just drag it back out like I just did, open up a new one, and drag it over again. And now it's in my green group. And you can see I can organize what order they are in to make it easier for me. I can have multiple open at once, drag it and change there. Whatever I need to do, I'm able to do, and I can put them in any order. Now, starting a new tab group is very easy. All you need to do is hover over your new tab, your loose tab, right click, and hit add to tab group. You can either, instead of dragging, click one of these, or you can make a new one. So hit new group. You can name it and choose its color. Then it will automatically be added down here by your bookmarks to be saved until you delete it. Now I want you to see that once I delete all of the tabs that are within this, even if I have multiple, so I'll show you. If I add one more and I delete this tab, it still exists. But once I delete that final tab, it's going to tell me that the tab group is going to be deleted. If I do not want that, I need to hit cancel. But if I do, and I don't mind it closing forever until I make it again, I can do delete. Now, with the tab groups, it does always want a tab open. So you'll see here, it automatically opened this college and career up. When I close college and career, it still wants a tab open, so it creates a new loose one. So you can easily organize all of your things, but also, again, teach your students how to do this because they could organize by class period instead of having 14 different Canvas assignments open at one time. They can create these tab groups and color code them for what works for them. And then they can just open when they're in your class, they can just use that tab and it will be less overwhelming for them. I have students that learned how to do this and they cannot stop. They love their tab groups, especially when they have a district test where they have to close out of all of their tabs because When you exit out of the full window, you will still have them saved down here to where you can reopen them at any time. It is so much easier for them and for us. We all make the mistake of closing something out before we're ready, and this would just be a help. Thanks so much for sticking around, and I hope that you learned something new today. I'm going to leave my QR code. If you have any feedback, please feel free to use it. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much.